Coach Prime has been on top of his game. He has elevated Colorado to national rankings. He has propelled his son to reach the NFL quarterback position. He has propelled Travis Hunter to the Heisman, and he's the gift that just keeps on giving. He really is prime time, family. He really is. He has proven to be a masterful competitor on every level of play in which he has operated, family. He is the real deal. You are not going to be able to say this man is just a show. He is just pizzazz and flash. No, ma'am. No, sir. And I did not know how real he was. I mean, I don't know the man. I don't know him personally. I've watched him from afar. But the bar's barometer is reading that he is more than a coach. He is a father-like figure to these players. These players will want to dive through walls for him. They'll cover grenades for him because he has instilled that type of spirit within them. They are victorious. They have receipts in winning. And everything about his aura and everything about him is oozing. He has the riz, as they would say. But in order to obtain this, in order to reach this extremely high level of mastery, he had to undergo some extreme situations in his life, which he has recently revealed in an interview, which I imagine most did not know of. I know for myself, I did not. And it says right here, Deion Sanders reflected on his 1997 suicide attempt and the way Kirk Franklin's music saved his life. Reading on down the article, famed retired football player and current Colorado Buffalo catcher Deion Sanders is opening up about the way music saved his life. A multi-Grammy award-winning singer-songwriter Kirk Franklin stopped by to chat about life and current pop culture events. During that discussion, Deion revealed how Kirk's music helped him while he was going through a difficult time in his life. Ultimately, Deion added that his suicide attempt failed because the Lord kept him. When I started listening to your music, I found I was suicidal. I'm driving my car off a highway to go to commit suicide. And I'm listening to Conquerors. It was like double-mindedness at its finest hour. Ultimately, Deion added that his suicide attempt failed because the Lord kept him. As he ran his car off the highway in Cincinnati, Ohio, he cited the artist's music for helping him to get back on his feet and get into a better headspace. Now over here, we've subscribed to the teachings of ancient Kemet regarding mental science and mental mastery. So where he says that the vibrations or the sounding of the music, which carries vibrations, began to change his attention, began to change his mind to some degree, diverting his attention away from the suicidal thought, we find that to be right and exact, no doubt. Not to say that we would deny what Deion was saying, but we just want to confirm that. And I speak that to people who are going through such thought processes, because it goes to show, as we continue reading this article, I want to show you something. See, it says right here, in 1997, after playing the baseball game for the Cincinnati Reds, Deion attempted to drive his Mercedes off of a cliff, which had a 30-40 foot drop. He didn't suffer any life-threatening injuries. He admitted to being at a low point in his life, dealing with his divorce and the possibility of losing his children. Let's take a look at this for a second. It said in 1997, after playing a baseball game for the Cincinnati Reds, he attempted to drive his Mercedes off a cliff. Now, Deion in 1997 is about 30 years of age. He has sustained a long career at this time in the baseball league, the professional sports of baseball and the professional sports of football. He has had a very successful career. He has been paid millions of dollars. He has access to anything that a man could imagine. He's a true king in all those respects. He's driving a Mercedes to his suicide, attempted suicide. He's not even driving a domestic vehicle. He's driving something foreign. And I'm sure he's fresh, as he usually is. And this goes to show all those things at sometimes in one's life, they don't matter, right? You have access to all the women that you want, all the chocolate, all the vanilla, all the cinnamon, all the brown spice. You got access to everything that you want under the sun. You have millions of dollars. You're world famous. You have multiple vehicles. You have access to business deals, business meetings, sports teams, sports meetings. You are doing your thing at 30 years of age. You're at the height of your career to some degree. What else is going on in 1997 with Deion? In 1997, Sanders finished second in the NL with 56 stolen bases in 115 games. Today in Reds history, 1997, the club signed Deion Sanders for a free agent contract for the second time. Prime time would make a career high, 127 hits, and swipe a career high 56 bases in 1997. So in 1997, he has the money, he has the fortune, he has the fame, and he is producing and being productive at an extremely high level at his field of play. He's having all Hall of Fame, not Hall of Fame, but he's having all career type numbers. The capacity to enjoy pleasure and the capacity to endure pain, those two things are balanced. The ability to have pleasure and the ability to suffer pain within the individual person, they are balanced. And when you're talking about temperance, say of a pig versus a lion, something of nobility versus something of no nobility or lacking nobility. The pig can suffer very little pain, yet at the same time experience very little joy. A lion, which has a higher degrees of temperance, it can experience higher levels of joy, yet at the same time it can experience higher levels of pain and sensitivity due to its makeup. Understand? And likewise with human beings. Human beings are above lions in the mental sense. They too can experience higher levels of joy, but they can also experience higher levels of pain. And within that individual, those things are balanced. Back to the words of the late great Biggie Smalls. He said, you can be as good as the best of them, but as bad as the worst. The song that Nas Escobar wrote, Drunk by Myself. Here's an entertainer. He has all the money that he wants, all the money, all the access to everything. He has all the kingdoms before his feet. Yet at the same time, he's drunk by himself, alone, in a zone, and alone, drunk by myself. He hates being like that. Those that are familiar with that song. Why does he hate being like that self? Because the mind can shift. The mind can go to and fro. The mind has trigger points, things which can trigger the mind. And if the mind is not properly balanced, you may find yourself driving a Mercedes looking fresh to death, damn near off a 30-foot drop cliff. And you're on top of everything that you've been working hard for. It just goes to show you that these material things, these trinkets, these things which are outside of ourselves, they can really never substitute for joy and for peace. You're going to have to go into deeper knowledge of truth, a search for truth, to fulfill those things which we are inherently lacking from within. Every human being is designed in a certain specific fashion where there is something that can trigger them, or there's an imbalance within them somewhere. And so as good as they can be just as bad. Does that make sense? They can, and similar to that of a tree, if you will. A tree, just as high as a tree goes, the roots go just as deep. So just as high as Deion can go, he's a king within America to some degree, right? He's on top of the football game. He's changing the game. He's inspiring human beings that has direct contact with him or indirect contact with him. He's inspiring human beings all around the world. He's doing his thing. Yet at the same time, back in 1997, when he was on top of his game, he still wanted to be in a 40-foot drop hole. He didn't want to be here. Make that make sense. You understand? You understand? There would be none of his sons. There would be no Heisman winning for Travis Hunter. You understand? You got to consider these things. This is not just for Deion Sanders. This is for any human being at any point in time that's had any of those thoughts. These things, these are emotional things. They come and they go. They come and they go. It's up to the individual to be able to maintain that. But those who are marked for greatness, they can also be greatly depressed. Do you see that? Those who are marked for high levels of achievement and those that have a drive and a will to push, they also can be subject to low levels of depression to the point where they are suicidal. You understand? The very thing that drives him to greatness, if it's not properly balanced, can be the very thing which drives him off a cliff. And that's why he's prime time. And this is not isolated for others. This is not just prime time. This is truly a characteristic that you find in many so-called prominent or great men. This is probably a characteristic you find in many of them. You understand? The very thing that makes you great can make you very, very bad if it's not properly directed, if it's not properly balanced, if it's not in proper harmony. So we're very thankful that Prime did not commit this. As he said, the Lord saved him. The Lord kept him. Oh, I believe that, yes. Yes, I believe in the ancestral spirits. I believe in the higher spirits even than that. I believe in the one universal God. I believe that when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. But yet at the same time, I also believe that the one living God bear witness to this pain that Deion was feeling. Despite all your material stuff and all the things which you've acquired here on the physical earth, you are still lacking that key component to keep you grounded and to keep you at peace. That peace is that mental salvation where you're not in jeopardy of harming yourself or harming the work that you have already put in. You understand? By him speaking on this is a very powerful teaching lesson. I truly believe this, in my opinion. I would like you to share, subscribe, and to like the information. But it's a lot to be said about mental depression, particularly in America. Particularly in America, you are living in one of the top 5, 6 most depressed countries in the world. Between India, China, and America, some of the most depressed countries on the planet. So for the idea of people suffering from depression is nothing new in America. Nothing new there. Nothing new there at all. Yeah, depression is real in this country. But to the point of one actually trying to commit suicide, that's another level. And that's how low he can go. You understand? That's how low he can go. But once again, the rule is the principle for pleasure and pain is balanced. To the same degree one can experience pleasure, is to the same degree that one can experience pain. It's balanced within the individual. So as low as he can go, you can now see as high as he is or as high as he can go. He's modifying and changing the game in real time. He's modifying and changing college football in real time. You understand? But he could not be doing all of this had he not been here, if he was not here with us. You see? Some people say, oh, you commit suicide, you're weak in your mind. In fact, it's probably the opposite. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy? It's probably the opposite. You're probably too strong in your mind. His mind is so strong, that's how he can do what he does. From a football player to a coach, his mind is very strong. But likewise, if the mind is so strong and it's not properly directed, not in harmony, then it could literally drive you off a cliff. That's how strong his mind is. You follow me? You see that? The universe is mental, family. Yes, the universe is mental. So, you know, what else? Yeah, like I said, back to America, just real quick. You're talking about high levels of depression right here in this country. Uh, this is real. And then we talk about the athlete. Well, we talk about white men for a moment, because the older white men tend to commit suicide in America. I want to speak on this as well. And the reason why we believe that is, to a great degree, is because they have been made to believe in the American system to some degree. And as you believe in the American system, and then you wake up to the system as you get older, you're like, oh, wait a minute, hold on, this system's not right, something's not right. And then you begin to have what I call the Tony Montana effect. Tony Montana from Scarface. He's in the restaurant in the tuxedo with his wife, with his stolen girlfriend and his best friend. And he got that cocaine look on his face, disgusted look. And the look is disgusting because he's like, I didn't risk my life and worked all these hours and put all this work in for this. And that's what it's like. That's what it's like for a lot of older white men, unfortunately, I believe. Or for those that just don't want to be a burden upon their family. You see that a lot in Asia as well. But it's two sides, I believe, with the white men in America. They don't either want to be a burden, or two, they woke up to the reality to some degree that the American dream can become an American nightmare. But I think on Deion's case, I think at that 30 years of age, you're making a transition, right? The parties ain't doing it like they once did. You want to settle down. And look at this article right here. Look at this right here. It said he admitted to being at a low point in his life, dealing with his first divorce. See, this is a problem also, fam. We went there before. See, this is the issue. See this. Take out of the conversation regarding the fact that he has all these materials and things of that nature. Those things are no longer satisfying. As we said, when people wake up to certain conscious thought processes, they realize certain things will no longer satisfy them. So the things you've worked your life for, they become vain to you. They can become a drain to you, right? So I see that with Deion at that point, but also adding to that, and no doubt, had to have been this divorce. We talked about this, family. Joe Smith's money was taken by managers, mismanagers, taxes, and a divorce. That's how Joe Smith went broke. He was spending money on rims. No, he wasn't. I'll say it again slow. Mismanagers, who he called managers and financiers, people who were supposed to be taking care of his money, they stole his money. I did a video on this. They stole his money. Taxes took his money. And the divorce. And when you go through the divorce system in America as a man with some finances in your pocket, this could be utterly devastating, not just economically, but also emotionally. And that last part you see right here, and the possibility of losing his children. Yeah, the possibility of losing his children, fam. What motivates him to being a great coach, a huge part of that is his love for his family, a love for his sons. He's reorganized, restructured his whole entire life so he could be a coach to his sons. You understand? He's been coaching his sons his whole entire life, since they've been playing since they were young. He didn't coach them all the way to the NFL. I bet he's about to coach them all the way to the NFL, basically. Yeah. And reports were reported, some reports are being said he may even he may go become an NFL coach, huh? So he could go coach his sons in the NFL. Yeah, he's dedicated. He's dedicated to the cause. Yeah. Okay. All right. Shout out to Coach. Shout out to Coach Prime. Shout out to Coach Prime. But yeah, this is a real one, family. This is a real one. You don't want to make a decision off of emotion just like that because, you know, once it's over, family. But be mindful, whatever the situation that you're going through, in Deion's case, the divorce, possibly the reality of what's going on in the world, his own existence, he's questioning. There's a whole lot going on at 30 years of age. Not being able to see your children. There's a whole lot going on there. You understand? But all those situations will pass. All those situations, they passed. You see? They all passed. You have to understand they will pass. I don't want to pass with them.